Yes, it's everybody's favorite time of the day. Once again, welcome to Satoshi's Bitcoin Chart Show. This is the Bitcoin forecast, the strength of the system, the health of the network, where we find out what's up with what is going down. Today's day is Tuesday, the 10th of June, 2025, the year BSV comes alive. Branch your threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai, or your post put on chain. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, and transactions flying free. Just wait for the terror node, you'll surely see.
Alrighty, here we go, rock and roll. Haven't seen this for a while then. Right, so we have got Gregcoin at $109,480. And for any newbies watching the show wondering why we refer to BTC as Gregcoin, well, this is your mysterious creator of Gregcoin, Greg Maxwell. And the term Gregcoin was coined by Mike Hearn on the 29th of July 2015. And it went like this. Mike wrote, "Look, it's clear you've decided that the way Bitcoin was meant to evolve isn't to your personal liking. That's fine. Go make an altcoin where your founding documents state that it is intended to always run on a 2015 Raspberry Pi or whatever it is you mean by small device. Then when someone says, gee, it'd be nice if we had some more capacity, you can go and point at the announcing emails and say, no, Gregcoin is meant to always be verifiable on small devices. That's our social contract and it's written into the consensus rules for that reason." And that's because Greg Maxwell didn't want Bitcoin to be a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. He didn't want people to use it because he's a puppet of the central banks. He was like, oh, let's change the narrative. Digital gold, not many use it. Store of Ponzi value. Yeah, that's right. Well, let me tell you, if something is useful, it's valuable. If something is useless, it's worthless. And Greg Maxwell here turned BTC into something that is now utterly useless and therefore worthless, which is why we call it Gregcoin, because it's not Bitcoin. And we've got B Crash, $425, Fisher Podcast, who cares? But then we've got Bitcoin, $34. The original protocol goes right back to the Genesis block. It hasn't changed, making it the real Bitcoin, the true Bitcoin, the genuine Bitcoin, and the world's first and only ever digital commodity, backed by the value of data sovereignty, making it the most valuable commodity on earth because it's an extension of our own personal freedoms and liberties. And you can see here in this diagram here that Gregcoin was created officially on the 24th of August 2017 at block height 481824, but it took with it the ticker symbol, meaning it is deception and fraud. And look at this, BCH did the same with their CTOR fork, which was a canonical transaction ordering, which is where the transactions were no longer listed in chronological order. They were in canonical ordering, which means you have a third party tampering with how the transactions are recorded, meaning there is a third party involved and therefore it is no longer a commoditized network. But the original Bitcoin and the only chain of signatures that goes right back to the Genesis block is still intact today, but it just has the ticker symbol BSV, making it the genuine Bitcoin. There we go. Loving that, loving that. So let's have a look at these figures then. So we've got price $34, hash rate 0.04%, network nodes 0.18. So for anybody who hasn't seen a network node before, these are they. This is the backbone to the new global financial system, the world's first ever commercial internet or digital network. It just absolutely blows my mind every time that all of this stemmed from just one 9-page white paper. I mean, look at some of these mining operations, like absolutely staggering. Absolutely staggering. Just absolutely mind-blowing. Blows my mind every time. I will never get tired of saying that. That is what we're witnessing right in front of our eyes. Just incredible. 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 Transactions then, so let's just have a transactions across the Bitcoin forks here. We've got 37.5, although everybody's seen that at about 99%, which was huge, but we'll just cross-reference the we're going to cross-reference the transactions. Transactions are here. So we've got genuine Bitcoin with 251,082 transactions over the last 24 hours, representing 8.2% of the overall market. Even though we've seen this as high as like 80%, 90%, we've literally seen like a little squither where it's got like, and I think it's like almost like what, 98% of the entire transactions across the entire market, through transaction volume and testing. We know it's coming. So that's 251,000. We'll just cross-reference that with what's on chain. Yeah, 251,082 transactions. Very good, very good. So hash rate, tell you what, we'll just have a quick look at the difficulty adjustment on BTC. Here we go, look at that, another all-time high. That is literally a record high that we're looking at there. Never ever been as high as that, an all-time high. Miners are going to be absolutely squirming to find any profits because the hash rate just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And the price is not going up enough to make them profitable because you can't use it. There is no natural demand there. It's all pumped by Tether. Let's have a look at the difficulty adjustment on BSV. So this is far more fluid. Whereas the difficulty adjustment on BTC adjusts every 16 days, which could really cause problems with effectively sort of like a death spiral as the difficulty adjustment doesn't change as market conditions change. Whereas on genuine Bitcoin, they do. Like absolutely brilliant. They're far more fluid. And let's see where we are. Going up just a little bit. But relatively stable and relatively stable, sort of in line with the price, really. Yeah, sort of stepping down. That's how it should be. But obviously, it's not. Well, actually, we'll look at the hash rate between Bitcoin, genuine Bitcoin, and Bcrash. So that's genuine Bitcoin, steady as a rock. Bcrash sort of like up and down a little bit there. All right. Here, back to transactions. All right. So in terms of explaining these figures to newbies, so the block size represents the amount of data that is flowing up onto the network. The data is uploaded via the transactions, which is the transaction volume. The transactions are processed by the nodes that create blocks and supply the hash rate. And the hash rate is meant to be attracted to the value, which is meant to be represented by the market price. But the market price is currently manipulated, meaning they're not genuine at all. So again, you've got all this hash rate over on Gregcoin chasing the price there. But again, the price is not a reflection of its true market value because there is no one using it, which is why World Economic Forum like to step in and say, oh, it's really inefficient. All this wasted energy, we're going to have to change it to proof of stake, and then we're going to have to add inflation to maintain a $1 trillion asset. That's fine. Really? Okay, so proof of stake means that there is no economic competition in the network. And without competition, you simply get collusion and centralization. Funny that, stakeholder capitalism all over again. And then Peter Todd saying, oh yeah, we can just add inflation. Really? Well, who's going to inflate it? Because there has to be a central source of inflation. The whole point of Bitcoin is that the protocol has to be locked so that nobody has any control over it, and therefore nobody can manipulate its fundamental value by either inflating or deflating the supply. Yeah, absolutely outrageous what is going on when you really know what's going on. So when they say in business, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity. Well, in this case, hash rate and network nodes are vanity, whereas transactions and block size are sanity. That's what it works. Without block size, without transactions, you don't need network nodes or hash rate. It's as simple as that. So where the block size being the most important one, then the transactions, and it just means network nodes, hash rate, and market price will ultimately follow, because the price will follow the value, which is represented by the use case and how useful it is. So there we go. Let's have a look at some of these blocks coming through then. So Gregcoin with just a 1 megabyte block size. Yeah, look at that. No blocks more than no blocks over 2 megabytes. So just they're all at 1. Still struggling to get all their blocks over 1 megabyte though. Bcrash, no blocks over a megabyte. Fisher Price Cash still struggling to get all of their blocks over a kilobyte, let alone anywhere near a megabyte. And Bitcoin though, so we're just relatively small blocks compared to what we used to. Like we used to like gigabyte blocks, 100,000 megabyte blocks. We've got 5, 1, 2, 1, 3, 9, 1, 2, 1, 9, 5. So there's more megabytes than just those few blocks, and there is in the entire column of Gregcoin over there. Let's enlarge some of these graphs then. Here we go. So hash rate follows price, follows value, follows utility, follows creativity, initiative, and intelligence. If you are intelligent and you apply creativity and initiative, you can make something useful. If something is useful, it can then create value. When it creates value, it can then develop a price. When it develops a price, it can then be measured against the cost of other goods and services and used as a medium of exchange. If something is useful, it's valuable. If something is useless, it's worthless. It's that simple. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. So on this graph here, we'll see that the hash rate, when utility is revealed, will go through the roof on that one. Proof of work by network since 1st of August 2017, which is when Gregcoin was first created. So the proof of work should be on the chain with the highest volume of transactions on it, because you need proof of work to compete to process the transactions. But because miners are just simply chasing the market price, this proof of work since 1st of August 2017 is very misguided, because it should all be over on the red one here, which is genuine Bitcoin, but it's not because the price is so high. It's currently 58,934 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Gregcoin, but you're mining Bitcoin at a 61% comparable loss. So it just simply goes to show how committed the miners are that mine genuine Bitcoin, committed to it because they're willing to mine it at a 61.1% comparable loss. But nobody wants to be holding any of these shitcoins when the music stops. So they're just like, no, we will just hold Bitcoin. Thank you very much. Fisher price cash is 6.1% more profitable to mine on there, so that's really funny. So miners who just chase profit will be putting the hash rate on there, and it's a 0.9% more profitable to mine on Bcrash over Gregcoin, but yeah, much of a muchness is usually like 1% lower than that, but shows the profitability is being very carefully managed over there. Daily average Bitcoin block size by network. So again, genuine Bitcoin in the red here. So loving that. That's the block size. And this is transactions by network. And again, you can see it's been well above Gregcoin there in the past, but matching it sort of like just at the moment, slightly above it. Transactions per block by network, so pretty much the same as the graph above really. Daily average Bitcoin fees, so this is fees in order to transact measured in US dollars. So look at this, we've got sub-cent fees, sub-cent to send a transaction in genuine Bitcoin. Whereas like you're looking at, crikey, looking at over $10, well over $10 like on average for a transaction. That'll never do on Gregcoin for buying a cup of coffee, hilarious. Daily average Bitcoin fees by network Satoshi. So this is measured in Satoshi. So now you get to see the difference because this is measured on a log curve. So the fees are right down there, absolutely smashing these coins. Whereas they're at, looks like maybe around 1,000 Satoshis. I mean, look at this. Genuine Bitcoin is probably around like 30 or 40 Satoshis. 30 or 40 Satoshis. Compared to over multiple thousands there on these other coins. That's hilarious. Daily Bitcoin fee to block reward ratio by network. So this chart here is representative of this one here. So as the block fee continues to get cut in half every 210,000 blocks, the block fee will eventually surpass the block reward, and then we have an economically self-sustaining system, which is what we're gunning for, and this is desperately what the cabal are trying to prevent by developing second layer solutions, telling people you're not meant to use it, store of value, not removing the 1 megabyte soft cap that was never meant to be permanent in the first place. But the solid red line will eventually match the solid blue line here as transactions increases and the network becomes useful, and you cannot deny utility. So it will be utility will overcome the speculative BS that the cabal are trying to pull over on Gregcoin. Yeah. There we go. We can just close that one. So this is a daily accumulated Bitcoin blockchain growth by network. So again, this is the only chart you ever really need to look at to find out what's going to happen in the future. Although it doesn't actually tell you sort of the fundamental figures, which are the interesting ones that is going on, under the bonnet. But this chart here shows you the bonnets. This is the bonnet. This is how big the bonnet is. So it shows you as what's going on under the bonnet, where you can the fundamental figures show you what's going on under the bonnet, but this is the only one that you really need to look at because it's going to tell you what's going to happen in the future. And look at the size of that. It would take Gregcoin over 1,000 years, and that's even if genuine Bitcoin just simply stopped working today. It would take Gregcoin 1,000 years to catch up with the amount of growth on the network that genuine Bitcoin has got. And as Satoshi Nakamoto said, it is strictly necessary that the longest chain is always considered the valid one. And the longest chain here is the one in red, and that's genuine Bitcoin, BSV, no coincidence. Global hash rate 7 days, global hash rate 24 hours. Gregcoin hash rate, so other miners 7.64 on there. Bcrash, other miners 25.69. Fisher Price Cash, other miners 56.94. And yet, so even though other miners have got 56.94%, it's still 6.1% more profitable to mine on that over Gregcoin. That is crazy. That's crazy. Look at the amount of hash rate other miners have got. That's crazy. And Bitcoin, again, you know, CoinDance not reporting the figures there, so we'll have to cross-reference this with what's on chain. Here we go. So Tau with actually 37.4, QD-Link 19.73, Cube 19.05, SA100 14.21. They're increasing. Oh, Gorilla Pool up to 9.52, and Mining Dutch not getting a look in at all. So we've just got 5 miners on there at the moment. Crypto Quant, let's have a look at this. So the black line here represents the price in US dollar value, but the purple line here represents the exchange's reserves. Now, these reserves are what the exchanges keep for themselves as reserves, so that they can fulfill customers' orders when they're wanting to cash out or move things from the platform. But they also hold reserves themselves for their own private personal gain and profit. So when you see these exchanges reserves going down, it means they're actually getting rid of them, because these are the exchanges reserves. They're not saying, oh, these are the customers' BTC. This is the exchange's BTC that they strictly hold in reserve, and when they're getting rid of them, you know something's up, because they know what's going on behind the scenes. And look at how much they've been getting rid of them hand over fist these past few months. They know what's coming. The mum and pop investors are going to get absolutely screwed. Like, absolutely screwed. I don't think I've ever seen it this low. It's crazy, but you know, they've got a lot to get rid of, and they want to get rid of them without spooking the market. You know, because obviously they want to get rid of them at the highest possible price. Whereas if they start sort of getting rid of them too quickly, that's when sort of the market notices. But they're basically just passing on their profits there to the retail investors who have no clue what's going on behind the scenes. No clue. It's going to be devastating. Let's have a look at the Tether weather. So this is the liquidity of Tether on CoinMarketCap when this comes up. I did have this page already open, so I'm not too sure why it's closed. But while that's opening, we can have a look at the market cap of money. So money is literally the dollar-backed stablecoin running on the genuine Bitcoin network. And the whole point of the genuine Bitcoin is that you actually have a network with no central point of authority or control, which means digital information, data cannot be deleted. So this is where you want your savings. You don't want them in the bank, because the bank can just simply wipe your account. They can close your account. They can be cracked, hacked, altered, changed, and deleted. This is why the banking network have literally built their own infrastructure. Whereas really, you should just simply have it on blockchain technology, where everything can be evaluated and assessed publicly, confirmed publicly. You don't really want a bank holding it. So there's no surprise here why the market cap of money is increasing. We're now at $28.3 million. Oh, 28.4 here. Look at that. So it's really great seeing that. Now we've got a US dollar stablecoin running on the genuine Bitcoin network, and so now we've actually got money, and we've got the centi Swiss franc. So the Swiss franc is the only fiat currency that actually appreciates in value against other fiat currencies, because the central bank refuses to inflate its supply. They're refusing to do that. Whereas all the other countries, because they are economically responsible, which means what they do is, rather than inflate the supply, what they'll do is they'll just simply increase or revalue it to the upside of all these other currencies. So the Swiss franc is the only fiat currency that actually appreciates against all these other fiat currencies. So really, between the two of them, we've got the best of both worlds. We've got the genuine Bitcoin, we've got a dollar-backed stablecoin, and we've got a Swiss franc stablecoin, all running on the world's most secure digital network. Like, absolutely amazing, amazing. Right, let's have a look at a Tether weather then. So any newbies watching the show wondering where the crypto market cap gets its value from, well, look at this. So Tether started out with just $251,000 in market cap, and now we're at 155 billion. That isn't 155 million. That is 155 billion, which is 1,000 million. So that's 155,000 million in market cap. And so all you do is you increase this and you pump it into the market. And again, Tether's now had to flee to El Salvador because it can't comply with the markets in crypto assets, European regulations, and it can't deal with the US regulations on stablecoins either because they can't prove their reserves. Every time they've tried to be audited, there's always been an excuse as to why they can't do it. Absolute fraud, utter fraud. So I was looking at this. This was the shorts and long positions on Gregcoin, but looks like Bitfinex might have actually closed this down, which was a shame because this showed you the confidence level. So maybe was confidence starting to wane a little bit, and they were just like, oh, actually want to hide these figures from the public. Don't want people seeing those to give the game away. That's what it looked like to me. Right then, let's have a look on Coin Codex. This is Bitcoin SV exchanges and their 24-hour trade volume. You've got Qcoin, OKX with 2.2 million, Gate.io just under 1 million, Binance Futures 4.4, MEXC 500,000, Upbit 1.5 million, but Huobi, look at that, 16.2 million on Huobi. Like, whoa. 1.1 million on HitBTC, 1.3 on Hotcoin, 2 million on PolonieX. All these other are below 1 million, so we'll just cross-reference that. Oh, look at that! Zedixian, what, 12.8? I mean, they were supposedly meant to have had one of the largest 24-hour transaction volumes at one point, but I suspect some skullduggery going on there. But let's just cross-reference this. So we've got Huobi, so 24-hour trade volume. Look at that, 16.2 million. 16.2 million. Huobi, I think that's a Korean exchange. All right, whoa. Gate.io, which were BSV supporters, they've got a turnover of 1.2 million at BSV. So that's pretty good for them, but small. Although I expect that will change quite considerably. Let's have a look at Qcoin. And the reason I couldn't find this previously before on Qcoin is because they actually call it BCHSV. Because they probably listed it before during the hash war. They were just like, what are we gonna call this thing? All right, let's have a look at OKX then. So OKX, good. I mean, that's gone down a bit. Just at $97,000. That's not even over 100,000. They're nowhere near 1 million. And that's OKX, which is a huge exchange. But I mean, look at that. What is this? All right, so they've got a green candle there, mirroring a sort of spike in the price there. Look at that. So it went down. That was a huge, or relatively huge, buying candle there. So somebody's gone in big. Somebody's gone in big. Several, maybe $100,000 doing that, pushing the price up. Whoa. Or could that be like $30,000 gone in? Like $30,000 in almost like a single purchase. Oof. Right, back to Qcoin then. Let's see what we've got here. I'll look at the 1 hour chart. So we had a huge spike in their price on the 21st of May, but we're now 10th of June. So look at that. I mean, the spikes in the price have been going up. Like, this represents kind of like artificial price suppression, actually. But small 24-hour trade volume, just 19.7. And Zedixian, again. So it looks like the increase in the price there might have been caused by OKX, because there's no indication here on Zadixian of any increased buying, particularly on their platform. Let's have a look at OrangeX. Oh, there we go. They've got a green candle here. So let's see what that was. So someone's put sort of like 10k in. Strong green candles there are going up. And look at this. 24-hour trade volume. 6 million. $6 million. $6 million 24-hour trade volume. OrangeX like coming from out of nowhere. Interesting. Let's have a look at the price action. Oh, there we go. Look, so we've literally just had this green candle going up there. So this is Bitcoin versus Gregcoin. The price just plodding along there slowly. Yeah, sort of upsy downsies. Let's have a look at Bitcoin versus USD on DXS. Yeah, there we go. Look. Green candles going up. Hey. There we go. So kind of like matching a high back at the beginning of this month. Gone down, then it's gone. Oh, look, they're trying to artificially push the price down, and then it recovers slowly. It shows that people's belief is not waning. Not waning. Loving that. Let's have a look at Orange Gateway. So Orange Gateway now registering a price of $34.21. $34.26 top left of the screen there. A little bit of a green candle moving up. Loving that. Loving that. Yeah. All right. Just compare that to the big dog, which is BTC. So again, just plodding along sideways there. Yeah, not really too much in the coins over the last since the beginning of the month, really. I mean, we'd had a spike in the price there, though. Whew, that was all right. They would have sprung into action. All the cabal puppets. Oh, quick! Can't allow this. Can't allow traders to see the margin in that. Can't let them think that they might be better off speculating over on the genuine Bitcoin. Can't be having that. And check this one out. Loving this chart. This is a bitchart.org. And this actually tracks the price of genuine Bitcoin through all the ticker symbol changes. So again, genuine Bitcoin started off with the ticker symbol BTC. This was the original protocol. Look at that. Started going up and up and up and up and up. And it got to a price of 1,192. Actually it went high. And then BCH, when it took on the ticker symbol BCH, it got to $3,000, or almost $4,000, so $3,743. And then obviously that crashed almost like straight afterwards, and that's when the entire market started going down. BTC started going down. I think BTC went down from sort of 17,000, which is what it went up to then down to $3,000. But that's when it was Gregcoin. So the Gregcoin price took BTC up to $17,000 and then back down to $3,000. But this is following the genuine Bitcoin protocol. So then it took on the ticker symbol of BSV. And on the 15th of November 2018, it plummeted down to $6.90 or $7.80. Like, whoa. Then it recovered a little bit and it's gone to 50. In fact, I've seen... I was in BSV when I went to sort of $400. So it's saying here it had a sort of an all-time high of around 855. But I'm sure it was like more $400. But this is the price today. So $33.83. So last time that genuine Bitcoin was at $33.83 was literally right here, which was back on the 1st of March 2013. Literally, when no one knew what Bitcoin was. We went from obviously 2009, 2010, and 2008, 2009 was when it started. 2010 we got a sort of the Bitcoin Pizza Day, which gave it its first ever real world market price against the real world items. And literally just a couple of years after that, we're now getting in at literally 2013 prices. This is absolutely crazy. Legends will be made at these market prices. Absolutely amazing. Right, let's have a look at this then. So live coin watch, we've got a look at this. The overall market cap, $3.4 trillion. But let's have a look at this. Do we get to see what the overall 24-hour trade volume is of the entire market? Oh, it's here actually. 24-hour trade volume. Look, so the entire market has got a 24-hour trade volume of $104 billion. $104 billion. Which makes up the $3.4 trillion market cap. But for newbies watching this, just to give you an idea, so we've got Gregcoin at a price here of $109,000. But it's only got a 24-hour trade volume of 1.61%, representing $35 billion. But really what you need to do is find out how many coins that is. So you would divide 35 billion by 109,000, which is the price. And that tells you how many coins makes that up. And so if that volume of coins change their mind, I think it's like 300,000 coins. Bearing in mind, Satoshi's got over 1 million. Michael Saylor's getting close. Coinbase has got 1 million. 300,000 coins. All you need is one whale to change their mind and go, actually, not really too sure about this. And then maybe even just a few small to medium size whales. They would easily add up to 300,000 coins. Easy. And that's all it takes to bring the entire $2.1 trillion market cap crashing down to zero. So any healthy market should have a 24-hour trade volume of around 5%. But this is like 1.6 and it was like 0.7 the other day. There's literally nothing there. There is nothing there. People have no idea how thin the ice is that they're skating on. Literally, they're thinking, oh, it's a $2 trillion market cap. It's going nowhere. What you really need to do is look at the 24-hour trade volume, because that's what sets the market price per coin, which is how you work out the market cap. So this is really the important figure that you need to be looking at. There is nothing there. Literally 1.61% is a 24-hour trade volume, when it should be a healthy market should be at least around 5. Not literally. Castles built on sand ain't gonna last, I'm afraid. So let's have a look at the rest of the market. So look, you can see how a lot of these coins have got similar patterns, all following each other. Look at that. And they say the market isn't rigged or they don't collude with one another. I mean, look at that. If these coins actually had different use cases and did different things, there is no way they would have all these similar patterns that we're looking at here. Look at that. Look at that. That is crazy. That is crazy. Look at these. Look. So they've probably got like different, the cabal, the central banks have probably got different managers looking after different portions of the market cap. Right, you look after the top 10, you look after the next 10, and you look after the next 10, and you look after the next sort of up to 40 coins. That's why they're all the same. They're just managing all of them. Through the printing of tether. Absolutely outrageous. So let's just find genuine Bitcoin down here, which is one they're trying to bury down at number 89 on the market cap. Blend in with all the other coins. Oh, that's right. Yeah, oh, Craig Wright's a scammer. BSV's a fraud. It's a fake Bitcoin. Yeah, whatever. So why are you trying to get rid of it then? And what's the issue? You're talking about a coin that's just like $34 with a 24-hour trade volume of just 45 million. Nothing compared to 36 billion. And yet you're concerned about it? What's the issue? I don't get it. Why are you so worried about it? What, do you care to explain? Maybe because it's the genuine Bitcoin and you know it. Yeah, that's more what it's like. So let's have a look at this then. So 24-hour trade volume represented broken down. So we got Coin DCX and then Huobi, almost like neck and neck. So they must have like a 24-hour trade volume of like $16 million. But then we got OKX. Can't really read these others. Gate.io's in there. Hit BTC. You know, but where's OrangeX? Where's OrangeX with 6 million? Because they were above OKX. Where are they? But let's have a look at the liquidity. That's what one of the most important ones. Hit BTC. So according to Livecoin Watch, we've got most liquidity. Changely Pro, XGO, OKX, PionX, MEXC, Hitbit, Zedixian. I mean, what? Zedixian's up there with exchange liquidity, and yet it's got 24-hour trade volume of what, like $12? Are you kidding me? Something is not adding up here. Yeah, but you know, we know the market is manipulated. So anyway, it's a 35-minute show. Quite enjoyed that one, looking at the figures. So there we go. If you enjoy these updates, please ding your donations for your appreciation to either Satoshi at Semi.com, Handcash.io, Rockwallet.me, Simply.cash, Related.com, or Senti.ch. We'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it, and as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
2 years ago, you got SegWit, which we lied and cheated and stealed, and I was part of the lying and cheating and stealing to get SegWit, to get Lightning, which, by the way, had critical vulnerabilities and lost people's money.
The king still has one more move.
Remember, Bitcoin is BSV. Everything else is BS.